I've watched He's Just Not That Into You over a dozen times throughout my life, but this time was different. I'm not sure why I was surprised, based on the name of the film, to realize that it's an attack on women. And what's funny is that it's a film for women. The very name of the film should have tipped me off. We don't know who the he in the title refers to, but it's clear it doesn't matter, because we know who the you is. It's us. It's every and any woman. So why does a film for women characterize them so horribly over and over again? And why do we eat it up? Where to even begin? Let's look at our main female leads in the film. There's Gigi, played by Jennifer Goodwin, Janine, played by Jennifer Connelly, Scarlett Johansson as Anna, Jennifer Aniston as Beth, Mary, played by Drew Barrymore, and Kelly Ann, played by Busy Phillips. Gigi is the stereotypical crazy girl who spends her entire life obsessing about men and misreading their signals. Her Saturday nights are spent staring at the phone waiting for a guy to call. So much so that even when she takes a shower, she has to have the phone right there so she can answer on the first ring. Let's be clear. The Gigi character does not exist in real life. Sure, there are some parts of her that are based on real women, but these parts are so exaggerated in Gigi that we don't even find her relatable. Rather, we find her annoying, desperate, cringy, and altogether hopeless. Let's look at some examples. Now, how many women do you know who answer a call from a man on the first ring? I personally wait until the third ring at least. By making the Gigi character answer right away, the producers have already set her up to fail. She's lost her cool before even saying a word. And when she does speak, that's no help. When Alex, Justin Long's character, calls her from the bar and invites her to a party, she somehow turns the call into a cringe fest. Gigi went on one date with Alex's friend Connor, but of course her first thought when Alex says he's having a party is that Connor may be there, and wouldn't it be awkward? Connor is out of the picture at this point. They've had one date and no goodnight kiss. Yet, Gigi is concerned that seeing him would be so uncomfortable it's better she not go to the party. This highlights that although she barely knows Connor, she's fantasized about him so much it's as if they've had an entire relationship.
Oh, you're busy. I shouldn't have called you at work. Oh, wait, you called me.
Yep, good.
Bye.
By the end of the conversation, Gigi looks completely exhausted and overwhelmed, like she can't even handle a simple phone conversation with a guy who she's not even attracted to or interested in, something she tells us when she talks to her friend Janine, Jennifer Connelly's character. Moving past the cringy phone call, we also have Gigi's behavior at Alex's party. First of all, show me one woman who would ever go to a party alone. But, for argument's sake, let's say she does. Is she really going to spend the whole night eating Chex Mix? Apparently yes, because that's what emotional women do. They eat when they're nervous. It all goes downhill for Gigi when she talks to two gay men at Alex's party. When they ask her if she's a guest or a co-host, Gigi responds that of course she's more than a guest. When Alex asks Gigi to refill the bowl of chips for him while he runs to the liquor store, she uses the opportunity to formally make herself a co-host. Now Alex, rather than being direct and saying, "No, I just need a favor," he agrees. "Okay, yes, Gigi, you're a co-host." Rather than correcting her and risking her not helping him, he tells her what she wants to hear. Now, if the scene had ended here, we could be on Gigi's side. Alex misled her and used her. She's the victim. We can relate. However, as usual, Gigi has to be so over the top and clueless, rendering her unlikable. It's 3 a.m. and Alex is playing video games with a thin, gorgeous blonde. Gigi hovers awkwardly in the background. There's no one else left. I can assure you, no girl is doing this in real life. We have eyes, we know what's going on. We're not going to stick around and watch, but Gigi does. When the blonde leaves, Gigi sits down on the couch next to a tired Alex.
Really gotta go to bed, though.
Is that an invitation?
Show me one girl who's this clueless and desperate in real life. Alex says her thoughts out loud when he exclaims in shock, "Why did you do this?" Her answer is, of course, it was the signs.
And why exactly would you think that?
Because of the signs.
Now, Gigi is not entirely wrong that Alex talking to her when he was with another girl may be a sign. What guy would pause a hookup with a girl to take a phone call from someone who's just a friend? Again, we see how even when men give us mixed signals and give us hope, we're the crazy ones. Alex sums up Gigi's character perfectly when he accuses her of purposely looking for ways to add drama to her life. She admits to purposely waiting until the last minute to pay her bills just for the drama. This is truly insane. No one does this in real life. It's absolutely not a thing. The idea that women crave drama, that we seek it out, is just one of the ways that men make excuses for their behavior and how they treat us. Alex even admits that men use the idea of a spark to explain the anxiousness women feel when they're mistreated by men. Now, for Gigi's sake and for all of our sakes, I won't go into detail for all the over-the-top and hard-to-watch moments that she partakes in the film. but I think we should just quickly list a few. At the end of the party, some of Alex's guests go and thank Gigi for hosting. She then says this cringy line.
When Alex said he wanted to throw a party, I was like, let's do it.
Also at the party, Gigi gives Alex a thumbs up as she refills a bowl of chips and he sits around not helping at all. Well, yes, she's acting crazy. He's also acting selfish, allowing her to help him as he does nothing. Besides the party, Gigi also seems to spend her entire workday talking to other women in her cubicle about men. God forbid she's ever shown actually doing some work. The next completely unlikable character is Janine. Just as Gigi's name matches her personality perfectly and brings to mind the idea of a child, Janine's name matches her persona as the nagging wife. Sorry to the Janines out there. Now, what's absolutely crazy about Janine's character is that she's the victim the entire film. We watch as Bradley Cooper's character flirts with the beautiful Scarlett Johansson and then returns home to Janine. And yet, we don't pity her. We don't even like her. I even found myself hoping that Bradley Cooper's character would leave her. Even when Bradley Cooper's character Ben reveals in Home Depot that he's cheating on her, we're unable to feel sorry for her. Minutes earlier, Janine was nagging Ben and being completely unreasonable, leaving Ben with no choice but to concede. This scene is there to provide contrast for the next minute when Ben admits to his affair. Notice what actually upsets Janine enough to raise her voice.
I slept with someone.
You asshole.
It is you that's been smoking too, isn't it?
Have you?
You've been smoking.
Her reaction to him cheating isn't what the audience wants for her. She comes off as desperate and gives him all the power. He can cheat and she still won't leave him and just wants to continue shopping. We don't respect Janine and for that reason deny her the role of the blameless victim, but instead label her the nagging wife who just wants the title of marriage. Although by no means unattractive, the producers did their best to make Janine's character as plain and possible, the boring wife. She admits that she gave Ben, Bradley Cooper's character, an ultimatum in college, either break up or marry her, and she uses this to justify why he cheated on her and say that it's rational.
It's my fault, you know.
We never have sex. I mean, realistically, what would I expect him to do?
Janine also plays the naive wife who thinks she has it all. She encourages Gigi to plan her destination wedding after Gigi tells her she thinks Alex likes her. This is an extremely painful moment to watch for both characters, as the audience knows Janine's life is far from perfect, and as we watch Janine encourage the crazy Gigi, it's clear she views marriage as a thing that every woman wants. Cigarettes play a big role in Janine and Ben's relationship and actually seem to serve as a metaphor for their marriage. Ben denies smoking, and we, the audience, believe him. He's never depicted smoking a cigarette, but rather the opposite. He's introduced to us at the store chewing gum, one method for smoking cessation. It's not until the end of the film that Janine finds a pack of cigarettes in Ben's pants pocket. Now, we don't know if he's been lying the whole film or finally gives up, but again, it seems to parallel their marriage. At first, Ben describes himself as a happily married guy, and he doesn't give in to his desire to cheat. But eventually he does give in and stops pretending and playing the perfect husband, and that means he can smoke again like he wants. It's not until Janine finds the cigarettes that she completely snaps. If we continue the metaphor, it seems Janine has realized that Ben has given up on their marriage and is no longer the man she believed him to be. She can forgive the cheating, but not the complete change in character. Perhaps she forgives him for the cheating because she believes herself responsible in some way for letting the physical side of their marriage die. She goes to Ben's office and tries to seduce him, and the audience is almost feeling sorry for her at this point. But then she gives him another ultimatum, and we stop rooting for her. The whole sex scene is so awkward that we, the audience, find ourselves hoping it ends quickly, much like Ben's character does. The one time in the film we actually like Janine is after her divorce. Her entire demeanor changes, as does her voice. She's soft-spoken and hopeful. A warning to women: don't give men ultimatums, you'll end up alone. She becomes attractive and likable again. We finally get our hopes up with Scarlett Johansson's character Anna. She's pretty, bubbly, sweet, and completely lovable. Almost too lovable. Men can't resist her. We're all rooting for her, but her character is soon destroyed too. After finding out the man she's flirting with is married, she still pursues him. She plays the beautiful seductress that all men and women should fear. Anna's the anti-female here and serves as a warning. Don't trust the beautiful yoga instructor. No matter how hard you resist, because Ben does in the beginning resist, she'll wear you down and seduce you. Jennifer Aniston's character, Beth, is perhaps one of the most complex in the film. She seems to be reasonable and the polar opposite of crazy Gigi and Janine. She's the only one who actually talks about work at the office and even suggests Gigi call the guy first after her date. When Beth's boyfriend Neil, played by Ben Affleck, who is also very likable in the film, reveals that he does not believe in marriage and thinks it's a scam, we struggle, along with Beth, to decide whether or not he's full of shit. On one hand, Neil plays the perfect boyfriend. He helps around the house, expresses his emotion, and he's never seen with any other women. But still, we feel that Beth is settling. Her character shows us that women can't quite have it all, and if we try, we'll lose.
I haven't wanted to seem demanding, and I haven't wanted to seem clingy or psycho. So I haven't asked you. Are you ever going to marry me?
After ending her relationship with Neil because of the marriage issue, Beth later realizes that Neil's actually one of the good ones, compared to the other men in her life. After Beth's father has a heart attack, her sister's husbands don't even think to offer help and seem more concerned about football than anything else. Neil is the stark contrast, lending himself into the house to do dishes and laundry, while also bringing groceries with him. Beth realizes she should take what she can get, and it's okay if she doesn't get everything she wants.
I just can't give you what you want.
You're what I want. It's enough. It's really enough.
Now, I don't think this is inherently wrong. For the purposes of the film, Neil is a good guy and one worth compromising for. But the idea that we, as women, should be so lucky to find such a guy that we should just give up the idea of marriage isn't one I'm okay with. Luckily for all, Neil ends up proposing and the two are married. This leaves the audience a bit confused about the message. Should we all just break up with the guy who refuses to marry us because then he'll eventually propose? Should we try to change his mind? The obvious answer is no, although this movie leaves the question open. There are two other female leads in the film that play smaller roles but whose characters still manage to portray negative stereotypes about women. Mary, played by Drew Barrymore, is the only female in the film whose job seems to be her main focus. We hear several times how amazing she is at it, and by several different characters. But when it comes to love, she's passive and doesn't seem to care too much. It's interesting that her character ends up with Connor. Connor is the least masculine of all the men in the film, and apparently that means he has to end up with a career woman. If the film was based solely on Connor's character, it would be called She's Just Not That Into You. He's essentially the male version of Gigi in the film. And just as Alex gives Gigi romantic advice she doesn't take, Alex does the same to Connor. Connor is chasing after Anna, who the audience knows is just using him as a backup. Just to further add to Connor's lack of masculinity, his character literally dresses up as a gay man at one point to attract gay real estate clients. The two masculine characters in the film, Ben and Neil, are only shown asking each other for advice. They don't require the advice of women or gay men. Connor's character, however, like Gigi's and Mary's, does in fact get advice from gay men, further showing how he matches the female characters more than he does the male characters. After getting advice from the gay men, Connor asks for a cookie. Here, he's likened to women, who when they're emotional also eat. This is also shown when he's spooning with Anna. The whole position is over-exaggerated and he clings onto her for dear life, a nice metaphor for his clingy personality. Alex, the other male lead in the film, starts off as masculine and someone who doesn't get emotionally attached to women. However, as he softens and realizes he likes Gigi, he takes advice from the female hostess at the bar. The female hostess, Kellyanne, played by Busy Phillips, also changes throughout the film. She starts out needy and like one of the other girls in the film. She interrupts Alex while he's working to tell him she had a good time the other night. It becomes evident it was a one-night stand, which is made clear when Alex says it didn't mean anything. Alex ends the conversation calling her a pet name and saying to close the door. When Alex's personality changes and softens, Kellyanne takes on the male role. No longer emotional or attached, she toughens up and is able to joke with Alex, since he is now the vulnerable emotional one. The characters who end up single at the end of the film are the ones who don't let their emotions get the best of them and retain their masculinity. Bradley Cooper's character Ben is the typical cheater. Even after cheating on his wife and getting kicked out, it's clear he shows no remorse.
This is most about marriage.
You are married. And what's your question?
Ben's wife in the film, Janine, also ends up alone. Her character is masculine throughout the entire film, which is evident in her taking on all the decision-making. However, in the end, when she reveals that she has started dating again, we see a softer side of her. The feminine Janine doesn't have to end up alone like the masculine one does. Lastly, Scarlett Johansson's character Anna somehow does not find love, but rather she decides to focus on her career.
Maybe dating's a little overrated.
Her character acts as a warning to beautiful women. Your role is to keep the male gaze, not to try and fall in love. Although the movie ends with a somewhat happy ending, it sends a message to the audience that only certain types of people deserve happiness. Don't be too desperate, don't be too boring, don't let the sex leave your marriage, don't be too sexy. These are messages for women, as we are the consumers of the film. The messages for the men are less clear and less important, as any man watching the film likely relates to Connor's character. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment with a rom-com you'd like me to cover next, or subscribe to my channel for more. Thanks!